Look at where we are today. We are a nation that is perniciously dependent on foreign oil. When oil was at its peak prices, and it will return, this nation was shipping $700 billion overseas each year to purchase oil, much of that from regimes deeply hostile to our values. That doesn't even count the cost of maintaining our oil supply lines to fight wars in the Middle East. That doesn't even count the cost of the thousands of young men and women who have lost their lives or been wounded, essentially to protect this nation's need for oil. We face the real and imminent threat of global warming. The science is clear. The evidence is there. And now we see more and more powerful storms hit our communities, and we see famine and drought ravaging our fellow men and women across this globe. And now we are seeing the free fall of the economy of financial manipulation. Economy built on paper profits and paper wealth, collapsing with 5 million Americans now having lost their jobs since this recession began. We have a choice. We can try to do what we did before, or we can remake the American economy for the 21st century. And I believe in the seeds of these converging challenges, there is great possibility, and I might say, and I think we believe it, there is great hope. You know, I was struck, I'm really not, even though I've been in public life a lot, I've never been a poll watcher. But I was struck by the fact that even as unemployment in our own state is now crested over 11%, it's probably more like 15% in California. When you count all those who have quit looking for work, those who are underemployed, remarkably, for the first time in years, more Americans feel better about our future than feel worse about our future. It is a time of possibility. And with the election of Barack Obama and more progressive majorities in our Congress, I believe our dream in the next decade of building a sustainable economy is within reach. But make no mistake about it. Last November was a chance, not a certainty of success. A chance to make change, a chance to restore America's middle class, a chance to tame global warming, a chance to adopt and put in place sustainable economic policies, a chance to lift up those who have been left out and locked out and left behind in our economy in the rush to greed over the last several decades. If we're going to win this fight to build a clean energy economy that respects the planet and respects generations to come, we're going to have to think big, and we're going to have to organize relentlessly at the federal, state, and local level to achieve our objectives. You know, when you boil politics down and political action, it's really pretty simple. It's about having the willingness to embrace the big idea, the big reach. It's about having the passion to pursue that, and it's also about having the discipline to organize to make your dreams come real. In some ways, political action is very linear and very simple. It's about one person having belief, believing enough to reach out to 10, to reach out to 100, to reach out to 1,000, to 10,000, to 100,000, and then ultimately millions to join the cause. And I believe we're at that kind of moment. If we want to build a clean energy, good quality jobs American economy, the time is now. And what we must do is we must organize on all fronts. And what that means is we must push relentlessly in Washington and Sacramento and locally for the investments that will build a clean energy economy. Investments in energy efficiency, investments in renewable energy, investments in public transportation so not everyone has to travel in single occupancy automobiles, investments in building a new smart grid for this country, in a country where we lose $20 billion a year in energy because of our outmoded grid, and we don't have a grid that can reach to renewable resources. It means, once again, making a commitment as a country to invest in research and development and science, as we've done in the health arena, as we did in space exploration in the 1960s. And it means a willingness to invest, to use our public wealth to train America's young people and workers to lead the new global green economy so we can be the leader, not the laggard. A generation ago, we were a nation that was second in the number of young people who got natural sciences and engineering degrees, and now we're 20th in the world. All over this country, there are millions of skilled workers out of work as old industries of the 20th century have died. we have the chance to put those folks back to work, to train them, to take the industrial workers of the Midwest and people all over this country and train them and equip them to power America's green economy in the years ahead. So we need to catalyze a new wave of investment. Secondly, we need to pass legislation this year, not next year, not 5 years from now, to confront climate change, to cap carbon emissions, to bring them down, and to use the money generated by that kind of legislation to fuel the new clean energy economy. This is going to be the battle of the century in Congress this year. The old economy, fossil fuel, oil, coal, will be lining up to defeat this legislation, but we've got to do it because we have to level the playing field. Right now, when we buy oil, the true cost of that oil isn't embedded in how it's produced. The fact is the oil companies don't pay for the pollution. They don't pay for the health costs. They don't pay for what it costs to maintain a military. They have an unfair advantage over solar and wind and geothermal, and we got to level the playing field, and we got to do it now. And at the end of the year, the world will come together in Copenhagen to begin forging an agreement on how to curb global warming. And I want America to go there as the leader, not the laggard, in the fight against global warming. It means that we've got to work hard as we transform our economy to make sure that we create jobs here at home. Look, this isn't about just being protectionist. It's about recognizing that we have millions of people out of work. It's about recognizing that if we produce things here at home, it's less environmentally harmful than importing across the seas to bring the component parts of renewable energy here. It's about recognizing that if we're going to build a new energy economy, why do we want to be dependent on foreign parts like we've been dependent on foreign oil? So we need to make sure that the clean energy revolution results in American jobs. And the fact is today that 70% of the technologies in the renewable industry are made overseas, not here in America, even though we were the ones who in many respects began the invention and the science for the solar cell and for CFL lights. We need to make this an American revolution and to make sure that at the end of the day, this isn't just a revolution that benefits a few at the top. Look, let's be blunt about what's happened in our economy. We now have the greatest gap of wealth and income of any industrialized nation in the world. In 1980, the gap between what an average CEO made and an average worker made in this country was 40-1. By 1990, it was 85-1. By 2000, it was 500-1. No democracy or economy can sustain itself with that kind of inequality. Building this new clean energy economy gives us a chance to do it right for once. And finally, what thinking big and organizing means is also making sustainability real at the local level by putting in place the programs, the policies and initiatives that make sure that in your own community, you're living up to the highest expectations of green. That means tougher and tougher energy efficiency standards for buildings and appliances. It means smart growth land use plans that really do result in scalable, walkable, transit-oriented neighborhoods. It means green job trainings programs so that everyone has a chance to be included in this economy. And that's why I'm so proud of the work of the Oakland Apollo Alliance that we worked on with Green for All to create job training programs here in Oakland to give young people at risk a chance to participate in the wealth creation to come. And it means giving the incentives and the support for all the entrepreneurs out there who are creating the technologies of the green revolution. This is a big moment, and over the last 2 years, the Apollo Alliance has been going into overdrive to try to set the foundation for the green economic revolution. Last year, we